Yo, your boy So Sick Trend is back. This time I want to talk about the patch of Fatal Fury City of the Wolves that hopefully will shake up the meta. I have not played any matches yet, but I have went over all of the patch notes with all of the characters, so I got a good idea of what is going on. And I will say that we can potentially see new killers in that top 5 upper echelon of the tier list, because a lot of characters have kind of dropped down in my opinion. Some characters have definitely gone up, some characters have kind of stayed the same, and some characters that might have been like the worst are a little bit better. So with that being said, the biggest thing about this patch was they nerfed wave dashing completely. You can wave dash, but it's super slow now. They added a lot more recovery frames to like the dashes and like blocking after, so like wave dashing is just not the same at all. It's very slow. I'll show some examples later, but the other big thing about this patch in general was all of the top tier characters that we were seeing in every single match have definitely gotten nerfed, and they've gotten toned down, and the meta could definitely potentially switch up. So I'm pretty hype about that. But first and foremost, we're gonna go into Rock Howard. Now Rock received a lot of buffs, a lot. So for one, far standing HP, expanded the attack hitbox, expanded hurtbox. Now I know a lot of people get confused on these things, including myself, so I had to do a lot of research and just kind of like understand what they're trying to say. But basically right here, they're basically saying that his far standing heavy punch, it was a buff. They expanded the hitbox, so it just hits further, and they expanded the hurtbox, which means because it hits further, it's easier for him to be tagged out of it. So anytime you see expanded attack hitbox, that is a buff. They want you to be able to reach that heavy punch from further ranges to like whiff punish players that are just whiffing in your face. However, it also comes with the hurt box getting, you know, added, because if you don't mess with the hurt box, the move can be pretty busted. But anyway, so they buffed his stand heavy punch, his stand heavy kick, and his crouching heavy kick. All of those heavy buttons got like buffs on their ranges and stuff, so that's really good. His overhead kick expanded the hurt box during ascent, so a little change to that, nothing too big. But the biggest changes are on his rage run dunk and EX dunk. They have increased buff damage. Beautiful. And then if you look at layup rev, same thing, buff damage. We love to see it. So Rock got a lot of love in the damage department. And his rev cut, which is the low running kick, they increased the pushback duration on block. So anytime you see increased pushback duration, that means that the move got an increase in frame data. So like the frame data went up. So if it was +1, maybe it's +2 now. If it was -1, maybe it's neutral now. So anytime you see increased pushback duration, that is what that's going to mean. Shining Knuckle, they changed the startup from 12 frames to 10 frames. And Shining Knuckle Red Line went from 10 frames to 9, changed the damage 260 to 280. So I'm going to show y'all some examples of those notes on the screen. All right, so I'm going to show an example of Rock Howard's moves. So his far stand H, I'm going to show like how the hitbox kind of works now. As you see, it hit from a hella far distance, and that was actually kind of wild that it even hit there. And a little easy confirm. Same with his far heavy kick, it hits from a further distance, so definitely worth hitting those buttons a lot more. His sweep did get buffed as well. You still have to be kind of in range with that one, but it still hits a lot further. Dunk, both dunks got damage buffs, so that's pretty good. Dunk, as you see, that is doing 70 now from 60. And that is doing 80 now from 70. And then he also has layup, which is doing 90 now. And then EX layup is doing 100. So lots of damage buffs on the Rock end. So that makes him a lot better. I think that was the biggest thing about him, was his damage output. so that definitely makes him better. And Rev Cut, which is the running low kick, is a lot safer now, because it used to be -4. It was definitely punishable by 4-frame character, especially if you did it super close, but now it's -3 universally, so no character can punish it. So that's like huge actually, because that's one of his primary ways to open you up, especially when he throws it in some of his strings. So the fact that it's like -3 now is like really big. Shining Knuckle, same thing. Like I said, Shining Knuckle is now 10 frames from 12, and the red line version is now a 9-frame rev line, and it does a little bit more damage. Went from 260 to 280. So yeah, GG's Rock. Rock actually definitely won this patch. So if you are a Rock main, you are definitely eating. All right, so now we got Mr. Terry Bogard. They adjusted his hurt box to match every character, so when he gets hit, he's gonna be like every other character. I didn't even know that was a thing. So Power Wave Rev, reduce the recovery frame, so meaning when he shoots that projectile, he is able to run behind it a lot sooner, because the recovery frames are like killed now, so he definitely recovers a lot sooner. So he's able to just throw that projectile, run behind it, and get offense a lot faster. And if you try to jump over the projectile, it's easier for him to uppercut you now. Burning Wave, they increase pushback duration on block. So just like I said before, anytime you see increased pushback duration on block, means it is more advantageous on block. And they reduce the pushback distance, so he can stay a lot closer to you. And that is like his when you do the fireball input but you hold the input, like he just punches the ground, and I'll show an example of that in a few. So yeah, that's a huge buff to Terry. These two are really big buffs. Crack Shoot, reduce command priority. So I'm guessing the command priority would be like the input. So they reduced the command priority. Somebody can definitely correct me in the comments if they got something else from that, but that's what I was kind of reading into. Maybe the command priority is like the actual input of how the game registers the input. And then you have Power Charge Light and Heavy. They reduce recovery frames for final stages on hit and on block. That is just like Rekka punches. So they basically, when the final hit hits, it gives him more time because they reduce the recovery. So like now he has more time to do things, so he could potentially do new setups because of that. I know on Twitter I saw like an overhead setup that he could do, so he has a little more sauce after his records. And then Power Geyser, reduce the active frame, so not as easy to run into it, because before when he would do Power Geyser you could literally just run into it, so they reduced the active frame so that won't happen as much anymore. All right, so with Terry, like I said, Power Wave, he can run behind it a lot sooner now because of that recovery. So if somebody does jump over it, he could definitely uppercut them trying to jump over it and trying to challenge him. But it's generally they reduce the recovery just so he could press his offense easier. Burning Wave, like I said before, it is increased on block. So now if somebody blocks his Burning Wave, as you see, it was +3 right there. And beforehand it was not +3, and you see how close he is to you with a close stance C, so he can easily just frame trap you after that. So that is huge for Terry. Like his pressure just got even more scary, especially like if you're in the corner or something and you do that, and then you could just like literally just meaty the player and delete him. Like right there was +9. Like that's actually kind of insane, I ain't gonna hold you. And then his Power Charge, which will be the Rekka. Both versions right now give you +22, and he recovers like a lot sooner. So like I said, you could do some setups with the Rekka now off of like juggles and stuff. That's gonna be more Terry specific, but the fact that he does recover a lot faster on the final hit is like exactly what you would want, because you'll be able to act a lot sooner. And of course, like I said, Power Geyser, you'll be able to punish it a little bit easier now because of the active frames. Active frames are a little different. I will show an example of me dealing with Power Geyser. So now you see how like I could just run into it. Now it's still active, but now it's like a way easier time to like wait till after he's done. So definitely still active. Do not run immediately when he does it. Wait a little bit and then you'll still be able to get your wild punish. All right, so now we have Jenet. Now, baffles, the light version, increase active frames. That is her fireball. So the biggest thing they did with her fireball, they made it more active, so it's better for setups, but it also is much easier to combo in the corner. Like, it was a kind of tight frame link to combo into booty bump off of the light projectile. Now it is pretty free. It's like super easy because the active frames are so active that the juggle is a lot higher, so you really won't be missing that juggle anymore. And then you have Gulf Tomahawk, reduce landing recovery frames after you break the move. That is like her flip. So now when you you can fake it out and go low a lot sooner than you were able to in before the patch. Like when she would land, she would have a couple of recovery frames. So going low immediately would not be the most optimal thing to do because your opponent could just react. And you were in landing frame, so it was a lot slower. Now, because of the landing frame recoveries have been reduced, you're actually able to just like fake it out and go low, which is pretty strong. So then you have Crazy Ivan, the heavy version, which is basically like when she swipes her dress. They increased the pushback distance on block and they expanded the attack's hitbox. So it's a much wider attack and you can actually tell the difference. Like when you use the attack, you can actually tell the difference. But like I said, they increased the pushback distance on block. So let me show some examples of that. All right, so light fireball, as you see, a little more active. You really can't tell, but you can really tell on the combo. So you see how like high he actually was on that juggle. So now because he's that high, the link combo is just so much easier. And like now it's not even a struggle. Like before, I used to kind of have to pay attention to that combo. Now it's just like super easy to do. So that was actually a really good buff from the team. And then of course, like I said, if you break this, you can immediately go low, as you see, and that's so much faster now. So it creates much more of a mix-up potential, like especially if your opponent is just stuck. Like let's say your opponent is just stuck and you do that and you've conditioned them, or you do that, you see how fast like she recovers. So it's like if you do that or you do that, so now she just recovers so much faster that it's much more of a mix-up. It's a lot more scary when you have to deal with it. And when we talk about Crazy Ivan heavy version, like they expanded the hitbox, so like look at how far it's hitting from. Like it's hitting from way further. So this is definitely a buff. She can use this much more in footsies now. Like, so if you feel like somebody's gonna press a button, you can definitely like press that and it'll hit from a hella far distance. Like look at the distance. So I would say her footsies definitely got better, her mix-ups got better, and just overall she has a better light fireball, because even in the corner her light fireball is just better. Because since it hits a lot more active, it just gives her way more frames to like press her advantage. So Jenet, I would definitely say she's a W this patch. Some really good changes. She was already a strong character, but she's much stronger now. Alrighty, y'all know how I feel about Marco Rodriguez, man. That is my demon in bracket. But let's see. So his far standing heavy punch, they changed it from 11 to 10. They increased the pushback duration on hit. Far standing HK, same thing. They made it from 12 to 11. So they just basically made a lot of his far reaching normals a little faster. So nothing too crazy. The Kyokugen Hiji, they increased the time that the hurt box remain, and this move is his overhead. So the hurt box remains a lot longer on the screen, so it's easier to hit him, and they reduce the pushback distance on block. So like when he does the overhead and you block it, he has like 0 pushback, and it's a lot easier to hit him with potentially a close proximity normal depending on your character. But the example I'm going to show y'all is Rock being able to punish him. Now, Rock's punished before the patch, he was not able to get a crouching C, but after the patch, he can actually do a crouching C punish to Marco's overhead. So that's a huge buff, and that's a huge nerf to Marco. The Zanretsu can increase the knockback on hit. And then his Tatsu kicks expanded the hurt box. So that's good for if you want to hit it, like whip punish it. A bigger hurt box is always a good thing. But on the Rev version, they reduced the travel distance, they reduced the attack's hitbox, and expanded the hurt box. So they basically just tried to nerf the EX Tatsu like really hard and make it easier for you to hit him, and him make it harder for him to hit you, basically. And then they changed his How Shoken. Hopefully I said that right. They changed the attack startup from 6 to 8, which that is his fireball super. They increased the recovery frames on it, expanded the hurt box on it, and increased the launch height. So some of his routes do still work. I definitely saw that on Twitter. Some of his routes do still work, but in general, they just wanted it to be a lot slower because it was literally like a missile just hitting you for doing projectiles. So they wanted it to be a lot slower in general and increase the recovery frames when he whiffs it, because it was kind of free for him to just do it. All right, so Marco's for H is now 10. For D is now 11. The overhead has less pushback, so it's going to be easier to punish against most of the casts. And I'm going to show y'all a quick example right now of Rock being able to get a way huger punish. Before the patch, he could not do this. I actually demoed this on stream, that he could not do his crouching C as a punish, but now because of the changes, he can actually do his crouch C, which is huge. And as you see, Rock gets a very good punish now. So I would definitely tell you, go check with your character right now and see what type of punish they get. Because I assure you, the punish that you used to do is probably changed because of that nerf to Marco. So that's actually a very, very big nerf to him. So his Zanretsuken is his Rev Blow. So they increased the knockback on hit. So like when he does his Rev Blow, he has more knockback on hit. So I'll show that, what that looks like. So it's much more knockback on hit. So he's probably gonna have some newer setups potentially off of that. That players are gonna have to find to get new meaties and stuff of that nature. His Tatsu, generally we're gonna talk about the EX one because the light one got a hurt box nerf, but the EX one is the one that most people do. So as you see, like the range is kind of decreased, but it's still pretty far. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Like I tested it out for a while and it still hits pretty far. But it's just like at a full screen deficit, it's gonna miss. Like at a kind of mid screenish to almost full screen deficit, it's always just gonna miss. Like it's not gonna clip your hitbox and then he's gonna, you know, loop Oki on you. So I would definitely say that that is a pretty big nerf to Marco, especially with the overhead in combination. I feel like Marco would just have to play a little safer, but just in general, his game plan is still gonna be the same. He's still going to he's still gonna rob you some games. It's just the nature of Marco. And then his fireball super is now 8 frames instead of 6, so just a lot slower, but it's still fast. It's definitely still a bullet, but it's a lot slower. So maybe when you do your projectile, you'll be able to block versus just getting sniped. Maybe he'll do it a little late, maybe he'll react a little late, like stuff like that. But recovery frames is a little bit more, so you saw that was still a punish. Before the patch, potentially that might have not been a punish because of recovery frames. So I would say Marco is still strong, but you just have to play a little bit more careful. All right, so we got Preecha. Preecha got a lot of changes. Her close stand light kick reduced the pushback distance on block, which is definitely a buff. So she's a lot closer to you than she was previously. Her close stand HP reduced pushback distance on hit and on block. So same concept, pretty good buff. Close stand HK, they increased the pushback duration on hit, and they increased the pushback distance on hit and on block. So they actually buffed her stand HK. The frame data got buffed. So another W for Preecha. Her crouching HP, they changed the damage from 70 to 60. So of course that's a nerf. Preecha combination, the rev version and regular version now do a lot more damage on that final hit. So when she does her Rekka, the final hit will dish out a little bit more damage. And then we have her circular step parabola knee. Now that is her lunge and knee that she used to combo mid-screen in the beta. So they expanded the attack's hitbox and they expanded the hurt box. So that is a buff. Increase the time that the hurt box remains, so it stays active a lot more, which is really good for that move. So you could probably create new meaty setups with it, and increase the pushback duration on block. So the frame data on the knee is way better. And for the rev version, they expanded the hitbox, expanded the hurt box, increased the time that the hurt box remains, so it remains on the screen a lot longer, and increased the launch height on hit. So it could potentially give her new combo routes, or just make combo routes a lot easier. So then she has low angle kick, which is her low kick. They expanded the attack's hitbox, so just made it bigger, easier to hit. Arc elbow, same thing, that's her overhead. They just made it easier to for her to be able to hit the opponent, just a bigger hitbox. And her last theorem, which is her hidden gear, went from 8 to 6. A lot of characters in this patch got an 8 to 6 change, so it could just be kind of universal more so. Even like Hotaru went from 5 frame to a 6 frame, so I think they want it universally to be 6. All right, so with Preecha, her close stand light kick reduced the pushback distance on block. So as you see, she is +3, still right near the opponent for a frame trap. So just a devastating frame trap character in general. Her close stand HP reduced the pushback distance on hit and on block. So this is just closer. Most of her strings don't really change, because she was already doing these block strings anyway, so it's not like a huge difference with her strings. But one thing I will say, her stand D is now much more plus, because they changed that duration, they increased it. So she's +3 just by pressing it, and on feint it's +4. It was already +4, I believe, but you know, just her doing it by itself is +3, so it's like super powerful just in general. So just more frame advantage, but she's a frame trap character, so that's like the nature of you playing Preecha basically. Now her crouch HP actually got nerfed. Like her crouch and C got nerfed. The damage went from 70 to 60, so a little less damage on that, but nothing too big honestly. Her Rekka does more damage. All of the enders do more damage, so that's good. So overall her damage still increased, because her Rekka is her most used starter anyway, so most of her damage got increased anyway. Then you have the knee. Like I said, with the knee, it's gonna be more like setup based. It's definitely gonna be more setup based, because you can't combo off of that one anyway, like even with uppercut. But with the EX, they actually enhanced it. So with the EX version, they enhanced the launch height, so it's way easier to combo. Because she could already uppercut after that, but it's just way easier to do some of her combo routes. The hitbox on this and this increased, so just easier to use, easier for it not to miss if you were missing in some of your matches. So they made the hitboxes bigger on both of those. And of course her hitting gear is going to be a lot faster. It's going to go from 8 to 6. I won't show that of course, because it would just kill time, but her hitting gear is going from 8 to 6. And like I said, universally they're kind of going that route in this game, they're trying to make most of the characters have 6-frame hitting gears. Alrighty, now we got Hotaru. Now, I was very disappointed to read Hotaru's changes when I saw so many nerfs. I was like, damn, like, Hotaru just cannot catch a break. She keeps getting nerfed every patch, but, you know, it is what it is. So they did nerf her command combo, which was very weird because nobody used that specific command combo that they nerfed from 40 to 30. So that was a very interesting nerf. And then Shoshoshin, reduced command priority. Now, with them reducing the command priority, like I said, I think that has something to do with inputs specifically. So, somebody will have to correct me on that one, but I think the command priority is like an input thing. Shoshin, a Rev version, reduced the pushback duration on the 4th hit on block. So remember, like I said, duration, so that means they nerfed it. But generally people don't let the 4th hit rock. They'll break it to get the plus frames at the 3rd hit. But if you do let all 4 hits rock, and you're probably going to cancel into another move anyway. Shojutai changed the damage from 120 to 100. This is her command grab, the EX version of the command grab. They changed that from 120 to 100. So her command grab getting nerfed is kind of big, because if you did have a combo that would take somebody out of rev, it potentially doesn't take them out of rev anymore. So that could be kind of big. Okay, so these are her supers. Her super damage got nerfed on her super. Even her other super got nerfed damage wise. But the Tensho super reduced her recovery frames on mid-screen hit. So it gives her a better setup. Even the red line version, it gives her a better setup, but the damage got nerfed on both. So that kind of sucks. And like I said before, her hidden gear freeze fang, it went from 5 to 6. And they expanded the attack hitbox so it won't miss. Sometimes it did have instances where it would miss, which was weird. But yeah, so she overall got a huge damage nerf around the board. I think she still hurts, but yeah, she definitely got a damage nerf. All right, so the command combo they nerfed was this. And I literally did it on accident one day in tournament. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, what is this? Because I'd never seen it. So yeah, they changed that from like 40 to 30. So that's very interesting. This final hit is just more unsafe. But nobody does that. We would generally just break it right there. Or if you are gonna let the final hit rock, you would just, you know, do another special move. So very interesting. But the EX command grab now does 100 damage. So if you were to do something like this combo in general would do a little less damage. 310, not bad, but you know, just a little less damage. All of her supers do less damage now. So you got 220. And then this one does a little less. 300. It used to do 310. So most of her like supers doing less damage is kind of like, it's not that big a deal because they only nerfed it by a few points. I feel like if they would have nerfed it like a lot harder, like maybe like by 30 or 40 points, it would make a difference. But like I said, somebody that knows their calculations and what will kill, it definitely is a huge difference. But I would say she's still strong, just a solid character. But would I still clock her in like that top 5? I don't know, because I would have to see like the other characters in action. But she's definitely a little bit weaker. All right, we got Vox Reaper. Now, a character that nobody really plays that much, so he's very rare to see on the screen. His close stand HK actually got nerfed. They reduced the pushback duration on block and reduced the pushback distance on block. So the duration is definitely a nerf, but the reduced pushback isn't necessarily a bad thing. That actually is more like a buff. because it's not pushing back as much. So he's still in command grab range, and I think that that part is actually really good. I just think that the heavy kick just received a little bit of nerf to compensate for no pushback, because you don't want all these plus frames with no pushback against Vox. You would just like lose the entire game. So Go Dangi or Go Dangai is basically the move where he lunges at you with the palm and his plus. So they changed the attack startup from 26 to 27. Now I know that may seem not a lot, but it's actually a lot, because his close stand D frame trapped into this move, and there was no button in the game that could beat it. Like, you wouldn't even trade, it would just clean out, like counter hit you. But now, because of the 26 to 27, it no longer just clean out beats 4 frames. It actually trades with 4 frames. No, 4 frames actually win. My apologies. 4 frames win, 5 frames trade. And I'll show you an example, because stand D into quarter circle 4C used to frame trap all 4 frames and 5 frames. Now it loses to 4 frames and frame traps 5 frames. So I'll show that. But they did increase the travel distance, so he did kind of get a buff at the same time. He did get a buff. So with the same move, but the lighter version, they reduced the recovery frames when breaking the travel portion. So recovers a little faster. So if you want to break it, you'll just recover faster. So then we have Koku and Ryu, the heavy version. They increased the launch height on hit, so it probably will make new combo routes for you Vox players out there that are super combo heavy. That buff will increase his combo potential, because anytime you see launch height is different, especially when it launches higher, it's gonna increase his combo potential. And then we have Sei Gaishu. Change the attack startup from 7 to 6 and increase the active frames on it. Okay, let's see. All right, so we have the close stand heavy kick, which is the close stand D. As you see, -1, right? But the distance of pushback is a little different now. Still really good on feint, because it's still +2, but he's still in command grab range, so this is always going to be a threat. And I think with the reduced pushback, somebody would have to correct me if he was not able to do this before the patch, because I'm not sure. But I would say this could potentially be new because of the pushback difference that they changed, that he's able to still stay in command grab range after this. And if that is the case, that's actually really, really strong, especially because y'all already know that he has more frame traps, because if you try to move, he can just hit you. So I think that that's pretty powerful. But this is the move I was talking about. This move is was super demonic, but there is a huge weakness to it now, and I'm gonna show y'all basically why this move has been severely nerfed. So while the travel distance might be better, the nerf to it not like auto frame trapping moves is actually kind of bad. I'm not gonna lie, that's a huge nerf for him, and I don't know why they nerfed that, but that's like a huge nerf. All right, so I'm gonna make her swing, and as you see, that was a counter hit. That was not a counter hit before this patch. I promise you. That beat all 4 frames and 5 frames. Now that loses to 4 frames. And if you press a 5 frame, it'll trade now. Right there. It'll always trade with 5 frames. So now you have to be more wary. Are you fighting a 4 frame character or a 5 frame character? Especially when it comes to like crouch, A's and stuff. You have to make sure that if you're fighting a 5 frame character, you know the risk of you trading. Now, it's still good to knowledge check your opponent and see if they know, because hey, they actually might not know, and that could work out in your favor if they do not know. Okay, so the other change that he got is they changed the launch height on this move right here. So it launched, as you see, it like launched really high. So I'm not sure if some of his combo routing is different based on that, because when I did play Vox, I only played him for a short time, but like I said, somebody in the comments can tell me if he has new combos based on that launch height, because if so, that's pretty sick. And last but not least, they did change his hidden gear as well, because it was a little slower. It was 7, now they made it 6, and they're just trying to universally do that. So Vox, I would say that one nerf actually did hurt him, and depending on that launch height buff, that would be the difference maker if he's like worth it to play this patch. Alrighty, now everybody's favorite character, Tizoc. I know we got some Tizoc fans out there, and they were waiting on this patch to see if Tizoc would be a viable character this season. Now, what I will say, Tizoc received literally all buffs for the most part. His step, which is just his dash, they increased the travel speed and increased the travel distance, so that is a huge W, because his dash sucked. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna just keep it real with y'all. His dash sucked. It's a lot better now with the changes. They buffed his forward throw damage from 110 to 120, which is definitely good. Any bit of damage that he could get is really good. His Olympus over, they changed the OTG damage from 70 to 90, which again is good. And then all of these are his supers. All of these attacks are his supers, and they basically just increase the damage on all of his supers. So I think that that's good in general. Just overall giving him more damage, because I think that that's what he needs. But in my opinion, I think he needs better Oki. I think that is what Tizoc is really lacking, is the Oki department. So I'll show his dash. His dash is way faster now, as you see. Especially when everybody's wave dash got nerfed, his dash got better, which is pretty good. Then his forward throw, because now that his dash is faster, when he double dashes, he's +5, and he just did a 120 throw, which is really good. And the Olympus move is this move. So if it hits as a OTG, it's gonna do a little more damage. And all of his supers, I'm not gonna go show all of his supers, but all of his supers are going to do a bit more damage, and they're going to put a bit more damage on the table. So all in all, I would say he's a little bit better, but I think he's just lacking. I think he still needs one more thing, maybe like an anti-fireball, or he needs better Oki potential. But to the Tizoc fans, I would say keep striving with Tizoc, keep trying to break the curse that nobody plays the character. Like, try to figure something out, because maybe he does have something that we're missing. All right, we got everybody's favorite cop, Kevin Ryan. Now, in the meta, we've definitely had some Kevin Ryan players that we see from time to time. So he's not too rare, but he's still not on the screen a lot. But he did receive some buffs, which I'm going to get into. So Hell Trap, light and heavy, reduced recovery frames on whiff. So it's a lot less unsafe on whiff. Reduced recovery frames when the throw connects. So that's actually really good, because that means when the throw connects, he'll be able to act a lot sooner because of the recovery frames. So his Hell Trap Rev version, they increased the pushback duration on block. So that means that they definitely buffed the frame data on block. We'll check that out. They increased the recovery frames when breaking. So they actually increased recovery frames when he breaks that attack. So he has more recovery frames. Then they changed the rev meter fill amounts on the first hit from 100 to 120. So that, I would need somebody's help in the comments if that's a buff or a nerf. I don't understand if that's from his side or the opposite side. So that one was a little confusing, the wording. And sometimes with these patch notes, some of the wording is confusing. Like, nobody's a complete genius on these things and just knows everything. Like, I don't understand that one. So I would probably need some help on that one. But Hell Rotor, I know a lot of people that were wanting some Hell Rotor changes. So let's see, reduce pushback distance on the first hit on block. That's really good. because that just means they're closer. Change rev meter fill amount on the first hit to 80 to 60. Change rev meter fill amount on the second hit 150 to 140. Change guard crush value on the first hit 100 to 50, and change guard crush value on the second hit 150 to 200. So these look like definite buffs to when he's trying to guard crush you with Hell Rotor, because it is a two hitting attack and you can break the first attack. Hell drop heavy, increased pushback duration on block. They made the frame advantage better on hell drop. And then Big Bang Arrest got a change from 8 to 6. So overall, Kevin Ryan got some buffs. He definitely got some buffs. They're trying to make him a lot stronger in the meta. So let's take a look. So it says Hell Trap on whiff, reduce the recovery on whiff. And then it says reduce recovery frames when the throw actually connects. So I just feel like he can act a lot sooner. The Hell Trap Rev version, now they did alter this on block. There we go. So the timing is a little weird on it. I'm not used to Kevin Ryan's timing, but so if your opponent presses, now they can get a frame trap. Now one thing about Hoku, he does have a 4 frame. So against him, I don't know how strong that situation would be. Let's see. Yep, we already have it on the recording. So against a character like him, I don't think it's as strong, because you're gonna get beat out. You can't even get close stand A, so you're gonna get beat out every time right there. That would be like the only thing. If you're fighting a character with a crouching A that's 4, it could be a problem. However, you could walk back and make it whiff, but even so, that doesn't seem as good, because you still have to stop your advantage. So it'll be good against 5 frame characters, not so good against 4 frame characters. Heavy Rotor, let's turn him off of mashing. So of course you see the 2 hits on that. He's a lot closer now, because they reduced that pushback distance on the first on block. That's pretty good. You're still up close, and he is +3 right there, so I would say that's pretty strong. And then Hell Drop heavy version is +1, but like I said, if you're fighting a 4 frame character, that's not that good, but against a 5 frame, it'll still be pretty good. They're going in the right direction with Kevin. I don't think he's a bad character. I think he can definitely win. But his changes, I don't see them being too crazy. I see him kind of being like the same, like around the same tier, honestly. Just my opinion on that. Alrighty, y'all. Now, this is the nerfs that y'all wanted to see coming in this patch. Of course, Billy Kain, one of the most dominant characters in the current meta, but now with the actual current meta, we probably won't be seeing him. But in the previous meta, he was definitely, you know, he was a threat. He was one of the best characters in the game. He had a lot of offense. He was easily oppressive. For a zoning type character, he could literally rush you down and do everything that he needed to do. So nerfs were definitely incoming. So if you're a Billy Kain main, I feel for you. Luckily, I was only picking him in the Billy mirror match and against Hokutomaru, because I still had my other main characters. But after the patch, I'm not so sure about this character anymore. So of course they nerfed his dash. It was just too fast of a dash. They increased the travel distance on the first and second hit of his combination attack. His close light punch, now, so he has a lot of nerfs on a lot of his normals. So I'm gonna try to summarize this as fast and as easy as I can. So with his close stand light punch, they increased the pushback distance. So it pushes you back way further. So a lot of his routing has changed from his close stand light punch to his far stand light punch. All of these moves, like, they added more hitbox, expanded the hurt box on his far stand light punch. So his far stand light punch actually got better, but that wasn't like a thing that made him like so good. Honestly, it wasn't that button. It was literally his crouching B and his standing B, which they nerfed his standing B. So they increased the pushback distance, so it pushes back way further. Like now when you do it, it pushes back way further. They increased the pushback duration on hit, so when he hits it, it feels a lot different. Like you can't do some of the same routes that you were able to do before because of like the pushback. And they increased the recovery frames as well, so the frame data changed with his close standing light kick. His far standing light kick expanded the attack hitbox, increased pushback duration on hit and on block, reduced the pushback distance on hit. So like all of his normals, like I said before, they all took a hit and they just altered his route. So if you were not a Billy Kain player, you probably cannot tell, but if you were a Billy Kain main, all of his combo routes are like completely different. His close stand HK increased the pushback distance on hit and on block, so it's just way much more pushback. Crouching light, which is his crouching B that everybody dreaded because he would just do dash crouch B, dash crouch B. They reduced the hitbox, so it's a lot smaller of an attack, and then they increased the pushback distance on hit, so when it hits now, it's just way more pushback. His crouching heavy punch reduced the hitbox on it, so it's a smaller hitbox, and expanded the hurt box on it, so it's easier to hit. And then jumping HP expanded the hurt box. Hurt box now activates early and remains for longer, so it's easier to deal with his heavy punch in general because they expanded the hurt box, so it's just a bigger attack. Now this man's list is like crazy. Daikaiten increased the pushback duration on hit and increased pushback duration on block. So like I said, when you see increased pushback duration on block, that means that is a buff. Like the frame data has changed, and I believe that is his Rekka move. So the frames on it have actually changed on block, so it's not as unsafe on block. So Sansetsu is basically the pull-in attack, and you see mad nerfs to the pull-in attack. So I'll just tell y'all right now, all of his pull-ins have been changed. EX is neutral now, regular is -1. So if he pulls you back in and it's a regular version, it's going to be -1, and if he pulls you back in and it's the EX, it's going to be 0. So those were like huge nerfs to that move, like huge nerfs. Let's see. Senpu got projectile nullification. Hitbox now activates a lot earlier, so that is a buff. Just easier to eat through those projectiles. And then we have Kyoshu. Reduce the travel distance, reduce attack hitbox on ascending, increase landing recovery frames. Sandan expanded attack hitbox on the first hit, increased pushback duration of first hit on block, changed damage on final hit from 40 to 50, reduced recovery frames on the final hit, and increased knockback on hit. No, this is the Rekka. This is actually the Rekka move. The other move, I will have to see what that is. That is not Rekka. This is the Rekka move. So they basically buffed the Rekka to where they increased the knockback on the final hit, and they buffed the damage. So he did get somewhat of a buff after all of his nerfs, which still sucks, but it's not the worst thing. They changed his hitting gear to 6, and one of his supers, his flame super is a lot easier to jump over now. Way easier to jump over now. So like when he does the flame, you can easily just jump over and punish him. It was kind of hard to like actually time the jump over, I'm not gonna lie. It was like super hard to time it, but now because you don't have to worry about that, you just jump over and wild punish him if he just whiffs it. In the Sanden Rev version also, they expanded the attack's hitbox of the first hit, changed the damage to 40 or 50. So all of his Rekkas got changed and kind of buffed. So yeah, Billy took a hit. Billy, I don't know if he's still worth playing, I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, let's look at these changes in action. All right, so first and foremost, his dash, as you see, is super slow now. Even if you try to like wave dash, like I said, wave dash just got nerfed, so it's still pretty slow. his crouch B is gonna be like one of the biggest nerfs just in general, the range, because I felt like before the patch this would have still hit, but now it doesn't. A lot of his like strings and stuff and combo routes have changed because of a lot of these nerfs. Like as you see, this does not work anymore. That used to work 1000%, and that does not work anymore. That still works. So that's still really strong, just as a confirm. This does not work anymore. He used to could do close B, and now he gets close B, far B. So that distance nerf definitely hurt him. Rekka, like I said, is a lot better just in general, but it still will not reach after too many hits. So still weak in that regard, but just in general, the Rekka change is definitely better. So if we look at it on block, you see -5, but like mad pushback. So I think he's gonna turn into Rekka, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think he's gonna be just much more of like a Rekka. You know, just going into Rekka is gonna be like more optimal, because even this move got hit pretty hard because of the range on a lot of his stuff. This can whiff now. It's hitting pretty consistent now, but because this whiffs, there's certain instances where Billy is just not able to do his same confirms that he was able to do before, which I do think that it definitely hurts him, because even so that would also connect. And he can no longer do close stand B, close stand D. That does not work anymore. So overall, Billy, he has so many nerfs that it's just too much to talk about. It will be a separate video, but I think that in general, he's potentially still playable in certain matchups, but as a dominant threat in the meta, I don't think so, because this getting a pullback at neutral sucks because his buttons are very slow. Like a Hokutomaru is gonna beat him out because he doesn't have a 4-frame unless you're up close. So that's like the biggest problem with Billy. And if you're doing this, you're negative, so you're just gonna get hit. So yeah, RIP Billy. And this super is a lot easier to jump over. I'll show an example of the Billy Kain mirror match, but beforehand you could definitely land on that flame, and a lot of people didn't want to try to jump over, but now yeah, you can definitely just jump over him clean. So if he does that super right there, and Billy still does a lot of damage, so don't get it twisted. He can still delete your life bar, but yeah, just a much weaker character in this current build. All right, now Mai is definitely a character I feel like a lot of people want to play, but they're just not sure. They're not sure how good she is. They're not sure if she was gonna get buffed heavily or whatever. Now, what I will say, she definitely got some changes, but I just don't know about the direction of the changes. That's all I'll say on that. So her jumping LP, they increased the cancel window, so I think it's just easier to like connect it into counter hit and then go into super, like on reaction in the air. Like if you go air to air with somebody and you do a, you know, a JA, I think that that's easier because it's just increased cancel window, so that's good. Sayo Chidori, they expanded the attack hitbox, and that's our little fan slice. So they basically just made the hitbox larger for you to be able to attack people. So maybe after certain strings where it would potentially whiff, now it just won't whiff. So that could be a buff because the heavier version is plus. So Shinobi Bachi, the super, her elbow super, got a interesting change because they nerfed the damage, but she's able to actually do it in mid-air now, land and still get combos. Now I saw some Twitter combos earlier with these changes, and she was definitely dishing out a lot more damage, but it's just a weird change for her, I'm not gonna lie. And then they made her hitting gear, of course, 6 frames. But I also saw it, even with the expanded attack hitbox, I saw some clips on Twitter as well where it was still whiffing. So maybe they just need to redesign her hitting gear potentially, make it larger, like completely larger. But the direction of Maya, I'm not sure. I think she's still a good character. Like, she's solid, but I don't know. But yeah, let's look at it. All right, so with my jump light, I think that, like I said, if you get that counter hit, you can easily confirm into that, and I think that that's pretty strong because they made the cancel window huge. So I can see that being good, but just her aerial super in general is kind of like a weird super because of the juggle property change. Now, I don't know the specific route. I'm gonna see if I can find the specific route so I can do it, so I can show y'all basically what Maya is capable of. Alrighty, I'm gonna actually show y'all a video of it because I couldn't do it because it's pretty hard to do actually, but this is like an example of what she can potentially do now, which is really cool, but for the effort of what you have to do, I just don't feel like it's worth it at all. So I would definitely say overall, I don't know. I don't think she got the appropriate changes that she needed to be like meta or anything. And I think even with that super change, it's just not enough, honestly. Sorry, my players. All right, we got Kim Dong-won, a character I actually thought I was going to play on release because I love Kim, but not this version of Kim. But I think that he's always been kind of like a slept-on character. He's not terrible, but he just plays the game a lot different from what a lot of people are looking to play the game like, honestly. He did receive quite a bit of buffs, which one of them I'm very excited for, which he needed, and I actually cried about this buff since launch. I thought he needed this, but I'll get into it. So anyway, his forward throw reduced recovery frames on hit, meaning he gets a better setup off a forward throw. So that's really good because his forward throw was kind of wonky. He would throw you all across the screen. He could meaty you, but you have to still be tight. Close stand heavy punch, they increased pushback duration on hit and on block, which is a huge buff and actually allows him to combo on feint into crouching C now. So he can actually do stand C, crouch C combos, and he could not do that before. Trust me, that was the first thing I tested. Literally when the game came out, he couldn't do it, and I was very sad. But yes, they actually changed it. So close stand light kick, increased pushback duration on block. So that means it's a buff. His stand light kick is a lot better now. And close stand heavy kick, they increased the pushback duration on block as well. So another buff. So he got a lot of buffs to his frames, like straight up. And mule kick, aka taco, now you can input back or forward, it doesn't matter, which is good because sometimes it would be a situation where you didn't cross them up and you would input the correct input, but because you didn't cross them up, it was the wrong input. So now they just made it easier for you to be able to actually hit somebody with the taco and get a cross up no matter where they are. So that's really good. And then his Ashi Benta reduced command priority. So it's one of those command priority attacks. So not that big of a deal. But yeah, let's show off these changes because he actually got some good changes. So first off, his forward throw is a lot better, plus 51. If you do it from mid screen, you recover way faster now. You saw I'm on top of them at plus 8. And beforehand, you would have had to press your button way before that because they would have recovered. And his recovery is like terrible. So new combos. We love new combos. So this actually combos now. So that's beautiful. Glad he can combo that. Because before, of course, we were still going to do this. We were still doing this anyway, right? But with the addition to this new combo, it just makes like hit confirming a lot better and a lot safer because I could just do that. So that is a W, honestly. Now his standing light kick, they buffed it on block. So stand light kick plus 3. So it was already frame trapping into this anyway, but this is just really, really good. Even better. So stand light kick W, and heavy kick is now +4. So you could just go into easy frame traps with that. So all of his frames just make it to where he can frame trap you much easier. If you are a mashy player, you are going to get deleted. So now it doesn't matter if I press back or if I press forward, he is still going to do the cross up kick no matter what. So W, I would say Dongguan is definitely stronger. Definitely stronger. So if you are interested in him, I would recommend you try him out. He's a pretty cool character. All right, we got Gato. Gato did get top 8 at Evo. It was 2 Gatos in top. Gato is usually in top. Just a very, very strong, dangerous character. He's been doing good in the meta. Pretty much anytime you see like Shien or Punko, they're definitely cooking. Now I know a lot of people did drop the character, but the character is definitely still strong. Very, very disruptive character was what I'll say. So with his jumping heavy punch and his jumping heavy kick, they expanded the attack's hitbox. So that is a good buff to make them easier to use when you are jumping at your opponent. So that's a W. Tranquil kick reduced the pushback duration on hit and expanded the hurt box. Then we have Lol Black Fang, increase active frames for the counter hitbox. Increase active frames for the counter hitbox. Interesting. That's an interesting change. And then Wind Fang launches higher now. Like when you do the light or the heavy version, it will actually launch higher. So it probably increases some of his combo routes. Overall, I would say his changes aren't like crazy. He's probably going to be doing the exact same thing that he was already doing. So first and foremost, his jumping HP and jumping HK are going to be better in general. So those are his primary jump ins anyway, especially when you do side swap. So the hitbox is bigger on those. Now Tranquil Kick is the staple forward light kick. So the thing that they did, they reduced the pushback duration on hit. So on hit, it's a lot less positive, unless you make it meaty. Most Gatos are good at spacing it and making it meaty anyway, or just hit late. So I don't think that that's really going to change too much unless you do it incorrectly. Like if you do it like unspaced or something, then I could see it being a problem. But if you space it like you should be doing, then you'll be okay. And then Wind Fang just launches higher, so something like this. As you see, like the launch is a bit higher. So I don't know if he could do something specific, like something new, but I would have to see his like new routes if that creates like new routes for him, honestly. And the Lol Black Fang move is basically his back turn. It's his back turn stance. So they said they increased the active frames for the counter hitbox. So maybe like if you swing into it, it's just easier to hit him. That's what I'm guessing. But that's what I would take away from that move. So let's see. Yeah, maybe it just has more distance. Like that one would probably have to be explained to me a little bit more. Or maybe it just has more active frames to hit you. Like if you swing on them. So Kain was another character that a lot of people wanted to see nerfed, including myself. But I wasn't struggling too much against him. It was just like the annoyance of some of his like pressure strings. But I think that they definitely served him justice, because a lot of things that people were complaining about definitely got changed. His far standing light punch, so they reduced the hitbox and reduced the hurt box. But what that basically did, it took away his close stand D, close stand C feint combo. Like he can no longer do close stand D, feint, close stand C feint, stand jab into flash kick. He can no longer do that. That doesn't work. Now you have to do close stand D, close stand C flash kick. You just have to go straight into it. So that was kind of a huge nerf, I'm not gonna lie. His crouching heavy punch. Now the crouching heavy punch nerf is good because a lot of people just press that a lot at neutral, and the fact that they reduced the hitbox on it, expanded the hurt box, is just way easier to cook him. Way easier. Hokutomaru got a similar nerf to his as well. The exact same thing, actually. Low dodge attack added a throwable hurt box to the mid-air portion. Kind of a weird change. Then we have his flash kick. So it can no longer be rev excelled off the first and the second hit. So when you do flash kick, now you cannot go into another special move. You are locked in the flash kick, which isn't too bad because you're going to flash kick break anyway off the EX and be plus. So that one doesn't really hurt him. This is a smart style change. This is his orb super. So basically they nerfed the damage on it, increased the pushback distance on block when you block it, and increased the recovery frames of him being able to act. So when he does orb super, it's way harder for him to do like block string, orb super, dash up, block string, orb super. Like he can't really do that anymore. It's like a huge difference. And because of the pushback, especially if you do rev guard against it, it just pushes him way too far. So he really can't take the advantage anymore. So that was a huge nerf as well. And then his hitting gear went from 8 to 6. So I would say Kain in general, players are going to have to get right back in the lab. His Oki's still going to be the same. It's still going to be good. But I think his overall pressure and some of the things he was doing, like combo routing, is just so changed. There's just no way that you can get back on the game without practicing him and learning new stuff. All right, so his crouching heavy. I would say like this one seems like it would happen last patch, but that might have not happened last patch. Like hitting it from that far, like right around here. So definitely an easier button to like tag when somebody's whiffing it. This right here no longer works. So you can no longer do that combo route. You would have to, like I say, you have to go straight into the flash kick off of the second stand C. Just like that. So that combo is actually a little bit harder. I'm not gonna lie. It's like a buffer thing. So you have to definitely buffer it. So it'll probably take people a little while to get used to it, but nothing too crazy. And when he does flash kick now, like he can't do like flash kick, like if I do this, I was buffering fireball the whole time. You can't do it. Like you have to let the flash kicks rock now, so you can no longer like do something else. So that's an okay change because he was gonna break the flash kick anyway and be plus, so I don't see why that would be too different, you know. Orb super, like I said, when somebody let me turn the cooldown on. When somebody does orb super, so like they do that and they try to dash back in, now it's like you can actually interrupt it if it's not 1000% frame tight because of the pushback. But even like look at that, look at the pushback on that. So it's way harder for him to just loop offense on you, which is good because he won't be overheating people as much now that that's a change. So I actually like his changes. I think he'll still be like up there in the top tier characters, but definitely a lot easier to deal with for sure. So Ronaldo. Now Ronaldo got a lot of changes and a lot of them were for the better. I never thought the character was bad in general, but he's not really played. So, you know, maybe the devs feel like he's bad. I don't know. But he's definitely not a bad character. They increased his dash speed, which is really good. Just in general. So it could probably create new like meaties because he's a lot faster when he runs at you. That's good. His far stand HP now is considered airborne from mid movement. This is really good because it just low crushes like so well now and leads to a huge reward when it hits. So this is a huge W on him. His far stand HK, they expanded the attack's hitbox as well, so it made it a better poke in general. Low dodge attack is less negative on block, so that's also a W. His slide, they increased the travel distance and increased the active frames just to make his slide even more devastating. So yeah, they're going in the right direction with this character. I'm not gonna lie. Blue lightning screw is his soccer ball kick super. They made it a frame faster And they adjusted the hurt box to make it harder for incoming attacks to connect on startup. So he could potentially get hit out of it before, but now it's gonna make it a lot easier for him to just super your projectiles on reaction. So he got basically all buffs, and they were all good buffs. I think he's definitely a winner of the patch for sure. So his run in general is a lot faster, so that's gonna definitely help out his neutral game overall, and like him to just do what he needs to do to get the W. His HP is like really good now, his far C, because it just crushes lows immediately. Like as you see right there, you could have potentially lost that exchange before, but it's like it activates a lot sooner, so it's easier for him to just get over that low and then to start his Oki. That's a really good change, I would say. His low dodge is a lot safer on block. Now -6 still sucks because no dodge should be safe, but even right there was like -5 when it hit, and you're not punishing it from that range. It was a lot more unsafe before the patch, so that's good. His slide is a lot more ranged. Travel distance is further, and the active frame is further, so you could actually kind of walk into it now because of the active frames. And the biggest one of them all is this move right here. It's 9 frames now. So you got Kain, and he's just shooting projectiles, and you're right here. That was a wild punish. So that was still a punish. I did that kind of late. So Ronaldo definitely is going to be a little more scary in the meta. I mean, if more people played him, he would be a lot more scary, but it's just he's not heavily played. Alrighty, so Salvatore actually received Omega buffs. These buffs are actually good. It doesn't look like a lot, but it was actually a lot. So his jumping light punch now can cross up, which is interesting. It works on people that are standing up. It will not work on crouching opponents. So like it was whiffing when I was trying it on crouching opponents, but on a standing opponent, it will cross them up, which is pretty interesting. So they just gave him a new cross up. Pretty cool. But where he shines is all of his Earth's Beat. This is the stomp move. So they added a projectile nullification hitbox to all of his stomps, which it's easier for him to deal with projectiles now. If you're trying to zone him out, he could just stomp the projectile and nullify it completely. So one of his biggest weaknesses was zoning, and now he has an option against zoning in every version of his Earth's Beat, because he could definitely do it before, but I think that they just made it a lot easier for him to do it, because he definitely could do it before. And the Rev version is actually super good now, because you can actually frame trap 4-frame characters now. So increase pushback duration of first hit on block, right? Projectile, it still reflects the projectile and stuff, but because they increased the pushback duration on the first hit, makes it way more plus, and now he can actually frame trap 4-frame characters. All right, so first and foremost, this is his new cross up. It looks goofy, but he can cross up with his light punch now. This does not work on crouching opponents, so if your opponent's crouching, it will not work. So Earth's Beat, I'm gonna have Kain shoot a projectile at me, and I'm gonna try to stomp it, because the timing is weird, but right there I got it on the first try. Heavy version, same thing, right? So all of these versions are able to nullify the projectile, but the biggest thing is now against 4-frame characters, he's actually able to frame trap them with the EX stomp, and when you break it, because of the plus frames now. So this is huge, actually. So I'm pretty excited for Salvatore fans out there. Y'all actually got some really good buffs, no cap. All right, so first and foremost, that now is +4, meaning this crouch C is going to frame trap her jab when she presses. And just like that. So now the fact that he can actually frame trap 4 frames, pretty dangerous, I'm not gonna lie. He can nullify projectiles and frame trap 4 frames. He's a definitely scarier character. I probably would say that we might see a few more. Not a lot, but just a few more. All right, now we finally got a Hokutomaru. Now Hokutomaru is my pretty much my main. Like, he's my character that I've had the most success with. I know as of late y'all have seen me play a lot of Billy, especially in the Billy mirror and against Hoku players. But yeah, Hoku's still my main, and he received some nerfs, but he received some very interesting buffs too. So his close stand HP, it definitely got nerfed. So beforehand, I don't even have to read this. I'm gonna tell y'all what happened. So beforehand, he could do close stand C, and then he would be pushed out of range. Now, if he does one close stand C, he's automatically pushed out of proxy for another one. So he's not able to do multi close stand H's anymore. That does not work. He will be pushed out for a far H, and when he does the far H, is super slow. So that is definitely a nerf. His close stand HK, they reduced the pushback distance on hit and on block. So that's actually like a buff. They just, you know, took away the pushback, so it's easier. You stay a little closer to him when he does his standing HK. It's nothing too crazy, but it's something. His crouching C got nerfed just like Kain's, where the hurt box is bigger, so it's easier to tag, and you just have more time to tag him because it's just on the screen forever. Okay, cool. So then you have the Nippo Bakun kick. They expanded the attack's hitbox and expanded the hurt box on it. So this is going to be his rev blow, the aerial version. So they expanded the attack's hitbox, so it's just bigger, which makes it a lot better because there were times where it will whiff, but now those same spots where it will whiff, it'll probably actually hit their hitbox, and if it hits them late enough, it can actually be plus. So that's pretty good. Then we got the Rakazan. Rakazan is the air teleport. So air teleport got hit where they changed the frame data on block, because it was always different if they blocked it standing or crouching, but now basically what will happen when they block it standing, it'll always be like a +2, but the pushback is the problem, because now the teleport's pushed back, so he's not in close C range, so he will get far C off the teleport, which actually sucks. Because now he has to go crouch B, stand B. He used to could still do teleport, and he could actually do a close stand C, but that is no longer. So that nerf actually does hurt him. I'm not gonna lie. It definitely hurts a lot of his pressure. Kudon Rev version, increased recovery frames, adjusted recovery so that the final hit forces a true block string. Now, y'all seen some of my matches. I throw out that move round start sometimes to get offense, and it's a lot better now because even though they increased the recovery frames, they made it a true string. So now you cannot uppercut through the final kick. Like, if you're getting hit by most of that attack and it jails you, the final kick does not have a gap. So it's an actual true string now. That's actually pretty strong, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, the Karakusa increased the pushback duration on block on the Rev version. So this move is the uppercut. They increased the pushback duration, which actually makes this move more plus. So it's +3 now, which is ridiculously strong. I can't believe they actually buffed it because it didn't need buffs. It's a really good shimmy, and it's +3 now, which makes it ridiculous. So yeah, do this move more. The DP EX version with kicks. Air Shuriken got buffed, actually, and that was another surprise. Air Shuriken Rev got buffed. I don't know why, but they buffed the frame data. So now if you do hit it like as a shimmy, it's way easier to combo as a shimmy. So I would say Hokutomaru actually did not lose this patch. He stayed neutral this patch. I will say he's still really strong. Definitely top tier. One of the best characters in the game still. All right, so I'm gonna show y'all close stand C. As you see, I get far C. I used to literally do this to people, right? But now if you do that, you will always get far C, so you're gonna get mashed out. So you have to do this into that. Like this, just doing this over and over does not work anymore. So that's a huge nerf. But close stand D is still really good, and that's what basically players are just gonna gravitate towards too anyway. Like they're not gonna do they're not going to do a close stand C as much anymore. It's still good because you can do this, but because of the range you're at, and this doesn't work anymore, this doesn't work anymore, you know. So pretty big, but hey, it happens. Crouching heavy punch, just way easier to tag this button right now. I'm not gonna show an example, but it's way easier to just hit it because he lingers on the screen a lot longer now. So just like I showed Kain's, it's the same example. It's just way easier to hit it. So if you're in the mirror match, I know I said I wasn't gonna show it, but I'm gonna show it anyway. I gotta show it so y'all see the nerf. I gotta show it so y'all understand the struggle of those who mash crouch C. Like if you mash crouch C now, you're gonna get cooked. Do y'all see how I'm hitting him late? So that's huge. He's easily whiff punished now. That is definitely what I would say about him. He's easily whiff punished. Now, I'm gonna show you this red blow and show you how it works now. So it hits a lot easier now because of the hitbox is way bigger. So you see how that's hitting late and I'm getting like plus frames. So that's actually like kind of good, especially from the air. Like if it's going to air to ground at an angle, you can make it like plus or neutral. So I think that that's really good. Teleport. Now, as you saw, I got a close stand C right there. But you see, if you stand block it, it's less plus because it's only +2, and you get far C. So that is a huge nerf. The pushback on that is definitely different. So that is going to change how your teleport pressure goes. You're probably going to want to just go into crouch B, because if you go into a C, you're just going to get mashed out. Air shuriken W. So one of the main things about the air shuriken now, if you shimmy somebody and you're gonna hit them on wild punish, it just gives you way more frames to play around with. Even if you do like this, that was +4, you're still gonna be able to combo that. That was +6, you're gonna be able to get a close stand C. So that is the buff to shuriken. You were not able to do that. The frame data altered like ridiculously bad even when you hit it on wild punish. Now with the patch, like you're able to get some pretty awesome combos with the shuriken. And one of the biggest buffs that he got, period, is this move right here is +3 on block now. +3 on block is actually ridiculous. It's actually ridiculous because I think before it was like +2, but that extra frame is just really good because of a close stand C. So this is really good because it's a good shimmy in general. I use it a lot when I play him as a shimmy, but now that it's +3, you could just literally like abuse your opponent. So I would say in general, Hoku definitely did not lose the patch. He's still a winner. He got some good stuff out of it, and I definitely think he's one of the best characters in the game still. And last but not least, Andy Bogard. Now Andy is still new. A lot of people are not using the character still, so I knew they weren't probably gonna go crazy with his changes because you don't want to give him too much and then he's like crazy meta, but then you don't want to not give him anything, you know, like he's still new. So I think they did okay. They did a safe patch with him, very safe. Like his close stand light kick expanded the attack's hitbox, so they made his close light kick just larger. So I think that just means maybe potentially they didn't say anything about proxy, but maybe it's just a bigger button up close, so it's easy to like connect it and go into different combos, because he can link close stand C off a close stand light kick. Zainkin now moves forward slightly before attack startup, and they expanded the attack's hitbox, so it's just a larger move to throw on the screen when you do it, because generally you're gonna break it anyway. They increased the active frames as well, so I also think that goes with just saying you can potentially run into it, but if you're using it as a combo, it's not gonna like whiff or go crazy, because I know he had a lot of whiffing issues in general, and they buffed all of his damage on his supers, so I think that that's a pretty good patch for Andy. Like, nothing too crazy. All right, so with Andy, they made his stand light kick. Like I said, they expanded the hitbox, so he can already do that, but he could already do that before the patch, like, but it might make it easier to do it because they expanded the hitbox. His Zainkin, it says it moves forward slightly before attack startup, so he actually like moves further now before he even strikes you, and they increased the active frames of it. So I think it's much more of a move to just throw on the screen now. I don't know if it had the after image. Did it have the after image? Huh, y'all have to let me know in the comments. I don't remember if it had the after image. Maybe that's new. I don't know. Can't remember. But his supers do more damage, which is good, because I feel like his overall damage output is going to be even more so through the roof, because he already did a lot of damage. Like, all of that hurts, and that's 486 with corner carry, so even more damage on Andy is just scary, not gonna lie. All in all, I believe this was a really good patch. I'm glad the direction they're going. They're definitely trying to listen to the fans of people that weren't liking the current meta and trying to get more things viable, more things playable. And I think as long as we, give them positive feedback, then they're going to try to, help us out so we can have a really good game experience. So, W patch for me. Thank y'all so much for watching. And yeah, until next time, peeps. Peace.